welcome back to part 3 of the end of year awards. It's my wrestling podcast, end of year awards, with my good friend Gary Tait here with me again to do the penultimate and the final awards of 2021. And we're going to get right into it for these ones again. And we are going to
Yep.
go, the penultimate award is going to be woman, female, whatever you want to say, of the year for 2021. I'm going to let you lead on this one, Gary.
All right. Okay. I think again, probably people are going to be shocked by my response. I think this. I think there was really only maybe two or three for this one, um, but and I'm going to go with Britt. I'm just going to spell it. It's Britt Baker. I've struggled to find a talent. I think I've struggled to find a talent in AEW, let alone in WWE, that is as over as she is at the moment. Um, she is over like Rover. It is ridiculous. Um, I just there's something about her. I don't know what it is. People just connect to her. The fans have
Yeah.
leached. I've leached on. Leech is probably the wrong word. The fans have just caught on with her. And a leech is the wrong word. They've just caught into it. I think we said it in another episode. I'm not necessarily a fan of the hardcore style, but that definitely, and I think that there's a lot of parallels that you could have with that moment in the blood that we had with Becky a couple of years back. And I'm not saying that they're on the same level, so simmer down, Becky fans.
Yeah.
But for me, Britt's been a standout female talent. I think she's not only is she the standout female talent, I think that she's done something that Becky did a couple of years ago, and I know I'm referring. I think they're very similar in that regards. Is that for me, Britt is one of the most over stars in AEW in general, not
Yeah.
just as a female. Um, she gets one of the largest pops. Everybody in that crowd knows the whole DMD stuff. Um, you know, I think the fact that people don't call her Adam Cole's girlfriend, Adam Cole is Britt Baker's boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I know that's a subtle thing, and I'm not trying to be misogynistic or sexist or anything. I think that if you look at it from that way, no one turns around and goes, "Oh, that's Britt Baker. She's Adam Cole's girlfriend." Which we know that in wrestling fandom, there is a certain group that is slightly, misogynistic. They're a little bit dickish. No one does that. No one thinks of her as that. They think of Britt Baker, and Adam Cole just happens to be her boyfriend.
Yeah.
That for me is it's a really nice touch, and I think that she's doing something. I think she's doing something really special in AEW. I really do. I'm a massive fan of the promo work, and again, I struggle to find anyone that's had a better year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's a very, very close call with her and mine. I think push comes to shove, I would probably agree with you on Brit, especially after listening to what you've had to say about her. I'm gonna at least give my what my option was, my choice was, but I do think you have sort of like swayed me a little bit to agree with you. Um, there were two small reasons why I was doubting picking, like, double taking whether I should pick Brit or not, and that was the fact that I think it took her a little bit longer into the year to get to that place, to get that over, than it did for my original choice. And the other one would be, fuck, I did have a second reason, but it's gone now. Um, no. Okay. Oh no, yeah. The second thing would be, I don't think there's. It's very, very easy to say, and we said this before we started recording. It's very, very easy to say that she is the best woman that AEW have got because it is kind of slim pickings. Like, I adore Ruby
Yeah,
Soho. I loved her as Ruby Riot as well. And I hope that there's big things planned for her. But she's already sort of been pushed to the side a little bit and is relegated down to dark and dark
I
elevation.
I kind of forgot all about Ruby over the last few weeks. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shame.
Sorry.
They made a big deal about her going there and finally getting a chance to show what she can do, and she did. But now she's not.
Mm,
You got Anna Jay, Tay Conti, not even
mm,
close to Brit's level.
no.
I think they've got time, but it comes back to what we said earlier. They need a performance center so that they can get to that level. Um, Chris Statlander, Nyla Rose, Riho Shida. They've got some. They've got dependable women there, but I don't think any of them are even fucking 50% of the way there to Brit's
Th-
level. Which
They've only got one. They've only got one, Chris. Let's be honest about it. They've only got one that is even near to Brett. And I know that is what I get the point you're making. There's only
oh,
one
Thunder
person
Rosa.
that's even close to her. Yeah, it's only one. There's no
Yeah,
one else.
yeah, Thunder
That,
Rosa.
that,
Yeah,
there's no one else.
but she's doing
In fact,
some.
Thunder Rosa is a
She's doing some weird thing
um
with Tay J at the minute, Isn't she? She's not being
uh,
treated like a top.
no, yeah,
I don't know.
but Thunder Rosa is. But to be fair, Thunder Rosa is actually probably the best female um
Wrestler.
wrestler
Yeah.
in that promotion. Um, we can possibly talk about this when we get to the male side of it as well, because it kind of ties into that, as you said. But as a character, Brett for me. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
So no, that's all right, mate. So as I say, I won't spend too much time talking about my one because, as I say, I've pretty much agreed with you on Brit. I was going to go for Bianca Belair.
Woo!
I'm a huge fan of Bianca. I think, obviously, when she was first called up to Raw, they didn't really have a plan for her more than just being there with the Street Profits, and she appeared with them a couple of times. She really came into her own this year. She got to main event WrestleMania Night 1 with Sasha Banks, obviously, which was a huge moment, not just for women, again, but for black women especially.
Yeah,
She, I think she,
But Vince doesn't know representation.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't know diversity. Thank you, Gail. Um, she had a great run as champion. She had a great run up to becoming champion as well. I think it was really well told, really well built story. They didn't focus on the fact that it was two black women. It just felt like it was deserved. Obviously, she won the Rumble as well, so she had a great start to the year.
Yeah,
To get that shot in the first place. That's why I think she's had a consistently really strong year. It has
yeah,
sort of obviously from August things took a nasty turn in terms of her push where she lost to Becky. People are saying they've said it was 26 seconds, but like 19 of those seconds were them just stood there in the moment of, oh my god, Becky's back. She lost in Kofi versus Brock, sort of similar time. It was less than 10 seconds. It was a manhandle slam, which is just a horrible name for a move, and then a quick pin. So obviously, as I say, yeah, things have sort of fallen off for her a little bit. She's a massive star. Like, she's getting attention outside of the company at the ESPYs and stuff like that. I think she probably the only other woman that's gonna. Well, no, because Becky's already. I was going to say she'll transcend wrestling eventually. I think she's starting to transcend it at the moment, like Becky had started to before COVID, and like Sasha has with the Mandalorian and stuff like that. So I
yeah.
think she is probably going to be their next top star, top female star outside of the Horsewomen. But
And she's the one to take over from the Horsewomen, her and Rhea. As far as I'm
yeah,
aware, even and I know that Rhea debuted this year as well, and I know we're both massive fans of Rhea. And
yeah, she's
apparently
huge.
Vince is quite high on her as well. Um, I think those two. Um, and I agree with what you're saying. Bianca's had a stellar year. Uh, and it is difficult, um, to pick between them. And obviously, Bianca debuted. Bianca fucking, she main evented a WrestleMania. She's one of 5 women to do so.
Yeah,
And so it is difficult. I just think the impact in AEW puts Brett over because of the impact that she's had in AEW.
yeah.
Um, and she's taken a division that no one was really paying attention to make it one of. She is one of the most seen stars, male or female, in AEW.
Yeah, she's. I think. I think you're right. I don't think she's one of. I think she is the most over. I imagine she's selling a lot of merch. she's doing what maybe not quite to the level that Becky was as the man, but she's certainly, if they had a bigger audience, I think you could probably say that
Yeah,
she's the closest thing that we've had in terms of women's wrestling to Becky as the man before obviously she went off to have a baby.
yeah.
I think
And I don't think there's a better compliment than that. And I
no
think that,
no
as you said, I think the one thing that the reason why she isn't is because AEW haven't got that great women's division. And again, their reach as is not as big from a popular culture, a mainstream reach
yeah yeah
currently. Um, fucking Becky had Ronda Rousey for fuck's sake. Let's not take away. She had Ronda Rousey to battle with that helped the whole man situation. So Britt doesn't have that. So the fact that she's over is one of the biggest the biggest star that she's the biggest female star, and she's probably top three, top four. And I think Punk even referenced it. She
yeah.
she is one of the Mount Rushmore, if you will, of AEW. And I'd struggle for any AEW stand to tell me I'm wrong.
She the thing for me, and this will lead quite nicely into our last award for Male of the Year. She she's more over than anybody else in all of AEW. But if you were to put her in WWE, would she be more over than Roman? I don't think so.
No, no.
Which goes to speak of, like I say, that alludes to like the power and the strength of WWE's roster, and would she even be as over as Becky currently is, Sasha currently is, Bianca gets big responses from the crowd. Bailey will when she returns. Charlotte. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you like or dislike somebody. The whole meaning behind the word of being over is the crowd react for you, and the crowd react for Charlotte. They react for all of
Yes.
those women I've just named. So is
Um,
she is part of her massive amount of being over in AEW? Is it partly because nobody else is as over as her? And is that their fault or is it her fault? I don't know.
I'm going to stick with giving her all the credit. I think she's done something quite spectacular this year. And in a division that, if you think about it, at the start of the year, everyone was going,
It was garbage.
the women's division, AEW was shit.
Yeah.
So you have to give credit to her. And the fact that she's made that division even slightly interesting when, as you mentioned, there's some of the talents. And I don't know if she'd be able to do it in WWE because I don't know. And this, unfortunately, and I think we've said it before on a previous podcast, and we've spoke about it before. They don't give a lot of attention to women unless they're in the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah.
At least storyline wise. So I can't. I don't think Britt would probably not be where she is now if she was in WWE. Possibly if she was in NXT. Definitely
Yeah.
not on the main roster. And that's not due to her talent. That's mainly due to how they treat the females that aren't either proper breakouts like Bianca, or to a certain lesser degree Rhea, or you're in the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more, mate. Absolutely. And like I said, that leads into me what I was asking about Roman Reigns. Leads into the final award, which is our male superstar of the year. And unless you are an AEW diehard stan who refuses to acknowledge anything outside of AEW, I think it would be incredibly disingenuous to say that anybody other than Roman Reigns has been male superstar of the year. So there you go. He is my male superstar of the year. I like to think I know you well enough to have a pretty good idea that you're going to agree with me. My reasons for Roman are probably pretty universal across what most people would say about Roman. His character work this year has developed to a point that not a single person within WWE or outside in the entire fucking world could ever even begin to pretend that they thought we would see from Roman Reigns. Whether you put Paul Heyman alongside him or not, when Heyman is talking, obviously it does wonders for any wrestler that he's with, anyone that he's advocating for. But Roman with a microphone in his hand at the moment is absolutely stellar, next level. Roman without a microphone in his hand, talking shit to wrestlers that he's facing in the ring at the time. That whole, the psychology and the whole smack talk during the match and talking down to them and diminishing them. Again, next level. I cannot remember any other wrestler doing it that well during a match as Roman has. He's had fucking classic after classic in the last. When did he come back? It was SummerSlam 2020, wasn't it? So about 14, 15 months, he has had classic after classic against Jimmy, against Edge and Bryan, against Owens, even though, there were criticisms to make there about botches that had been made, but it was still a fucking banger of a match. What have we seen him doing towards the end of this year? Oh, even matches against people like Cesaro, that came out of the blue. Big E at Survivor Series. Brock, their little feud for a couple of months, the whole back and forth with Heyman. His in-ring hasn't really developed much, but he's sort of like tailored it towards being a heel. He hasn't, like I say, he hasn't. Other than the triangle chokehold or whatever you want to call it, he hasn't exactly added to his repertoire, to his arsenal of moves. It's still very much Superman punch,
No.
spear, heavy hitting moves, spear through a barricade. It's all pretty straightforward, but just the edge that he's got now, the attitude that he's got, it just seems to have given him so much more charisma. You know?
All right, okay. I'm going to keep mine short and sweet because I agree with you. So something that I don't normally do, and for people that don't understand why Roman Reigns is the number one man in the industry, I will simply break it down quite easily for you. Kenny Omega is absolutely phenomenal in the ring.
Yeah.
There is possibly not a better performer in North America, bell to bell, outside of maybe Daniel Bryan, right? So let's just squash all those little people that think. But the problem that I have and what Reigns does so well is his character is on fucking point. Simple as that. There hasn't been a weak moment for Reigns' whole entire character throughout the year. Not one.
Yeah.
And it's his character work that wins it. Now, I know that people will go, yeah, but Omega's done this and Omega's done that. And yeah, he won 6 titles. And, he's Dave Meltzer's little fucking arselicking boy and all the rest of the nonsense. And he's had 5-star classics. I'm not disputing any of that.
Yeah.
But Reigns, from a character standpoint, is head and shoulders above anyone in the industry.
Yeah.
It's that simple. He just is. I'm not saying, again, to clarify, I'm not saying, and I don't think Chris is even saying, that Reigns' in-ring work, as in bell to bell, rope to rope, is on par with Omega. I don't think either of us are saying that.
No.
We're saying from a performance, Reigns wins. And, I think you could, I think I was possibly taller with putting Rollins in there. I think Will Ospreay probably, again, even though I don't watch a lot of North American wrestling, I'm aware of Will. Obviously, with the fact that he's British, you keep a little closer eye on British talent that are doing well. I've obviously had that injury. Omega as well, very much is in that conversation, and I'm not that dissing on Omega at all. Absolutely not. Which is why we've made AEW the best promotion of the year, so we're not shitting on the promotion.
Yeah.
It's just that from a character standpoint, Reigns just that, and I think the fact that he doesn't need Heyman to talk for him.
Yeah.
He has the best microphone guy possibly of all time.
Agreed.
And he doesn't need him. Doesn't need him to say a damn fucking word.
Yeah.
And you have someone like Heyman by your side, and that boy doesn't need to talk. There you go. That's all you need to know. That's done.
Yeah.
Reigns every time.
Look what he's done with Jay and Jimmy as well. Once they came into the bloodline, everything's just believable. This is a Roman Reigns who, fucking hell, I remember the sucker and succotash promo that he did just a couple of years ago. You know, and when
Mm.
Cena exposed him during their promo battles as well, and yet that's another name, Cena from this year, and yet look at look at what he did with Cena this year. Light years better than what he did the first time around with Cena, wasn't it? The promos
Absolutely.
completely held his own. I think what I'll wrap up with is um, what speaks volumes for Kenny. Let's make it Kenny versus Roman, because I think it's safe to
Yeah.
say whichever one of those is number one, the other one is number two. Whatever
Yeah, I
way
think
round
that's
you
fair.
have it. So if you make it about them, who has been talked about the most this year? They've probably been talked about equal amounts, I would
Yeah.
say, as the top guy within their industry, as the main champion within their industry. But there has been so much more praise, so much less criticism for Roman, because Kenny Omega has always been Kenny Omega. He's always been that same character. I watched him a little bit in New Japan, but only the matches that I heard rave reviews for, like Okada and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then obviously from day one with AEW, and like you said, I'm impressed. He's an incredibly talented wrestler, but he doesn't have much personality. He doesn't have much charisma. He needs people around him, and he needs a good opponent. Roman has been. Look at some of the names I said before. Bryan is a better wrestler. Edge is a better wrestler. Cesaro is a better wrestler. But Reigns was still the focal point of all of those feuds.
Yeah.
He's the
I agree.
guy. He's the top guy. He's the face of not just the company but the industry. If you ask me to name a wrestler right now, I would instantly go to Roman Reigns. Simple. It's that simple.
And I think most casuals would do the same.
Yeah, I think they would.
Well,
And that's
yeah.
and that's by
I
design.
agree. I'm not. Yeah.
Do we do that by design? It's to get more people invested. He's the top merch seller. They put him on billboards. They put him on TV screens. He's starting to make the jump to like TV and films. Very much in this, not in as big a way as The Rock did, but certainly in a similar way to Cena. Because Cena started off appearing in smaller budget things, didn't he? Like a
Yeah.
Netflix stuff and things like that. And Roman is starting to make waves there. So yeah, I think, like I said, I could have had anybody come on the show with me like you have and do this, and I think we would have pretty much unanimously agreed. Roman Reigns, male superstar of the year. There
Yep.
we have it. That's it. That's the end of our awards. I'm glad we did it in this little bite-sized way, because it's a lot to digest, especially when it comes to opinions and all this back and forth stuff. But Gary, it has as always been a pleasure. There's always a lot of fun having you on the show. I love how much we bicker, we back and forth, but we're honest. We'll agree sometimes. It's a shock when we agree. But actually, if you think about it, we agree a hell of a lot more than we disagree. Like, I think about 5 of these awards today, or 5 of these awards this week, we've agreed on. Feud, male,
Surprisingly.
woman, what the fuck moment, no, disappointing moment, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was another one, I can't remember what it was. But yes,
I think. Here's the thing. I think most wrestling fans, even you little stands out there on both sides, if you actually shut the fuck up and stop arguing on Twitter, you all probably would enjoy the product a hell of a lot more.
yeah.
And not only that, you would actually agree a lot more rather than taking sides just because of whatever fucking logo that you decide to have on your t-shirt that day.
I mean, for me, mate, you know how I feel about stands and diehards and that. I don't think they are stands and diehards. I don't think stands and diehards exist nearly as much as we give them credit for.
Nah,
Give them credit for? That
no.
might be the wrong.
Actually, 2 seconds. Actually, I forgot to say, Roman also wins the best male star of the year for another reason, and that was the fact that he walked into the crowd and put a fucking mask on. So just for that,
Yeah, such a
that
cool
whole
moment.
just for the fact that he was that aware enough to.
Yeah.
But that was, I forgot to mention it earlier. But yeah, no, stands exist on the outer regions of social media, and I'm just telling you all now, right? Chill the fuck out, stop it.
All I was saying about stands is I just feel like they do watch all wrestling. and they do, like, there are accounts that we know. I'm not going to name them, and it's not who, it's not even who you're thinking. So people will be listening to this and thinking that I'm talking about a certain individual, and I'm really not. There is somebody else with a much larger platform, a much larger account, and even if you're looking at your Meltzers and your Alvarezes and your podcasts and your journalists, there are so many of them who, it's so easy to appeal to AEW fans right now because it's new, because it's fresh, because it's easy to pretend that you hate WWE for all the bad things that they've done. But just wait until AEW start releasing people. Just wait until they start making bad decisions and they turn into the bad guy. Those stands are going to start disappearing, or at least switching and being more neutral. It's social media. People say shit for likes, they say shit for comments, they say shit because they want their tweets to blow up and get 100,000 impressions, and I don't think most of them believe the shit that they're saying. That's it. I just don't think they do. I think
no, they don't. They have to watch the other product to bitch about it. That's simple. They have to watch the other one's product just to bitch about it.
Oh, you see how shit Raw was last night? It wasn't as good as Dynamite. Like, how do you know?
Yeah. And then they turn around and go, I don't watch Raw. Well, 5 hours ago, Sunshine, you turned around and said it was shit. Make up your mind. Make up your fucking mind.
This could be a whole other episode about what's wrong with the IWC.
It could be. It definitely could be. But I think both of us realise that we both have wives that we need to get to.
Yes, it's like 9:45. It's nearly Christmas. I've got decorations to put up.
Same here.
Gary, mate, like I said, it's been a pleasure. It always is a pleasure. Before I let you go, like I always do, like I always ask my guests, what are you up to on social media? What are you doing for Hooked On and Inside the Ropes, and where can people find it?
I am on Twitter. I'm at Gary Tait 1, which is where you'll find my normal musings and annoyances. And for Hooked On, I will be back this Sunday with my top 5 best and top 5 worst of wrestling television of this week.
Awesome, Gary. Thank you so much.
And that will be for Hooked On.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff, mate. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please make sure you hit subscribe if this is on YouTube. Please make sure you hit follow if you're listening on any audio platforms. I hope you've enjoyed all 3 of these episodes. I hope you've stuck around for all 3 episodes. I've enjoyed it. Gary, I'm sure, has enjoyed it. I love just getting together with a friend and just shooting the shit on wrestling. There is nothing more pure and fun and better than that. So, guys, thank you once again. Hope you have a great new year. Hope you had a great Christmas. And I will look forward to hearing from you and seeing you in 2022 on It's My Wrestling Podcast.